Thank you so much, Dave. That water imagery is perfect because we're talking this month about the soul's call. Who in their lifetime got a soul call and let it go to voicemail? Yeah, and then sometimes I, accidentally delete it without listening to the message. Because the message is something like, Kathleen, you have to do something completely uncomfortable. No one else has gotten that message, right? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. And there were people out there who just spit out their coffee all over their computer because they're like, she's talking about me and she can't even see me. But I know you. So this month we're talking about a soul's call, and this week we're talking about a phrase that I believe I first heard from Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith, who is the founding minister of the Agape International Spiritual Centers. He says that you can either be pushed by pain or pulled by a vision. We're all gonna move down this path. It's gonna happen. You cannot stay still and stay alive. If you try and stop growing, what you will do is calcify and begin to grow mold. Who here really finds mold a beautiful accessory in their cabinet? Or perhaps they think of it as makeup. I don't know. The world is beginning to realize that we've learned all we should through suffering and pain. We do have other options. Now, many of us are still in the habit of being pushed by that pain. Why? Because we've been doing it as human beings for thousands and thousands of years. We get pushed into our greatness. We get pushed into growth by pain. But if you look at nature, if you look at the normal behavior of, say, a tree or a forest or a child growing in a human body, they just grow naturally. Their bodies know to grow and not resist it. And anything that gets in their way, they just go around. Once a toddler learns to walk, it seems to me like little babies, they roll over one day and the next day they're running and grabbing whatever it was you didn't want them to have, right? And then eating it. So we can either be pushed by pain or pulled by a vision. And it's our choice. It is always our choice. If you happen to be pushed by pain at some point in your life, that doesn't make you bad. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or a bad religious scientist. It just means that there is some part of you that is still maturing to the point where you can be pulled by a vision, or you have not yet learned how to be pulled by the vision, how to catch that vision and move forward using that. And that is why class starts tomorrow night. I'm just saying. I got rid of the cost of the class. All you're paying for at this point is what it actually costs us to use the curriculum provided by Home Office. That $45 certificate fee is actually what it costs us to offer the class. After that, it's a love offering. If you get nothing out of the class, except a chance to hang out with some of us, you decide how much it was worth to you. If it does change your life, and it will, then you get to decide what that was worth to you. And because I've been working on the class, and of course, because I'm one of our ministers, rewriting the curriculum, because I never found a rule I didn't want to change, or just break outright. One of the things that has been on my heart is that last week we did a Q&A. And Gina's question was, have you thought about having more children here and what it would take and how we're going to do it? And my first reaction was pushed by pain. There is no minister on this planet that doesn't wake up at 3 a.m. thinking about, how are we going to get more people in there? How are we going to get more kids? And so as I remembered the rest of my answer, what I realized was I was answering that question from my ego self, the self that identifies my worth with numbers. And don't think that there's a minister on this planet who doesn't do that at some point. If somebody is trying to convince you that they're so spiritual, they don't notice how many people are showing up on Sunday, they're lying to themselves and you. Frankly, I am going to out my colleagues and myself right now. However, there is a higher truth to be found, and in a conversation with Jackson, I realized that I could use that. We have a whole bunch of spiritual tools we teach here. We teach people how to pray. And so the 5 steps of treatment are something that I could use, that we all could decide to use to call people in, and it will work. It absolutely works. That's how we got Jackson. We wrote a prayer as a group, and the entire congregation prayed it together out loud on Sundays until he showed up. You didn't realize it, but you had no choice. Not that we're, perpetrating a whammy on anybody, but there you go. One of the tools we use is visualization. And so this week I visualized this room and those numbers as big numbers. I realized that this room is full to overflowing, that the numbers online are all the people who can't even fit inside the door, plus people from around the world who can use this teaching to take their life to the next level. Now, you might have noticed there's still some empty seats. It's not because it didn't work, because the numbers this week are higher by almost 25% than they were last week. Yay! I don't know what they are online. I'm not going to pull out my phone and check, mostly because it's in my purse in my office right now, and that would be weird. But visualization, where we sit down and picture in our mind, use the faculty of our imagination to see and to feel into what it would be like for this room to be full to overflowing, and for the numbers online watching live, not just catching up later, but watching lives, to be in the 3 and 4 digits. I'm okay for them to have a comma in them. Anybody else? I have no problem. This is what I did actually back in the days when I was broke. I had a problem manifesting big numbers. And so what I did was visualize the comma in my paycheck. So now I'm visualizing a comma in our, not just Sunday service numbers, but in our classes, and in the number of people asking for prayer, and in the number of people that are working with a practitioner to do their own work and claim greater life, that we may have life and have it more abundantly, what the master teacher said he came here to do. I am more than willing to have a number with a comma in it, enjoying the Monday morning Facebook meditation. And lots of people coming up with ways to do this stuff during the week in their homes. Maybe there's group meetings going on in people's homes that we don't even know about, or that at least I don't even know about. So long as you're getting the tools and you're using them, then I'm happy. I don't care who gets credit. Neither did Ernest Holmes. So we can use the tool of prayer. We can use the term of visualization. As a matter of fact, let's try that right now. I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture what it would feel like if this room was full of people just like you, who are now some of your closest friends, who are there if your tire gets a flat. If you're having a bad day, they will bring cookies and sympathy. If you're having a great day, now you have somebody to party with. All of the chairs are full of people who are like-minded, doing the same kind of work that we're all doing, that is creating this world as a place of peace, a place of joy, and a place of prosperity. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine your life so full to overflowing that you look back on this day and wonder how you survived what used to be normal is now like the worst day of your week, and what used to be your absolute best is normal. Feel into that. Now, use your imagination and multiply that feeling by 50. That there is that much joy in you that it has to take on the form of other bodies in this building, not just on Sunday, but all week long. Now multiply it by 1,000. Oh my God, we just blew up the building because we don't fit. We have to have 2 and 3 services every day of the week to fit all these wonderful people. We have to have 5 or 6 assistant ministers to keep up with all these people who want to learn. You found 5 or 6 soulmate type friends within this group. People who get you. People who love you just as you are. People who get your jokes. All right, come on back. Now, as we're sitting here for the rest of this hour, what I ask is that you imagine those people in these chairs and send them love. Send them approval. It's almost a religious science tradition to show up late. So they're not missing, they're just a little late for service. They'll be here next week. What I get, though, is that those are things we do here at the level of effect, at the physical world level. And what I am focusing on these days is called visioning. Visualization happens when we use our minds and our will to focus on what we think is our highest and best. Visioning, there's what I think might be the best, and then there's what God, the Almighty, the All-Creative, the creator of duck-billed platypuses, think about that. Think about a giraffe's neck. The thing that was so creative that it came up with that. Its best idea. For my life, for your life, for the life of this center. Think about that. Is it possible that one of the benefits of having managed to get through 2020 is that we no longer need to fit everybody in this room because we have figured out that some of y'all saints and wonderful sages and people are going to be online because you don't live in Prescott, Arizona. Many ministers have figured out that it's become really kind of fashionable among ministers to say, I am from Center for Spiritual Living located in Prescott and planet Earth. Because on this planet, through those lenses, we have brothers and sisters, family, that we may not know the names and faces of, but you guys are part of us. You just are. There's no escape. God is the ultimate stalker in the best possible way. So, by the way, I just, in case I haven't said it to you in particular, or you have not heard me say it, I am also claiming the planet Venus just before anybody else gets a chance to, because that's where love is, right? So we are Prescott, planet Earth, and Venus now. I'm having a flag made. I don't know how I'm going to get it there, but I have faith. So visioning, one of the things Michael Bernard Beckwith says is that where there's a will, there's a wall. Where there's a will, my human will that I use in visualization, there's a wall. Where there is willingness, which is what I use in visioning, there's a way. For spirit to have its way with me, to create something amazing in my life. And so in visioning, what we do, it's actually, you know, I've been visioning for more than a decade, and I've been doing it wrong most of that time. Or I've been doing a version of it that was not, it's kind of like a hand drill as opposed to power tools. A hand drill that I'm going to use to create a well with water. It's going to take a while. And I'm going to be tired, and I need to get my nails done again because I just chipped them on the stupid drill. In visioning, when we let go of our human will and our human ideas about what we can actually have and start stepping into infinite love. So step one is to get really in contact with the infinite love that is life itself, that is life energy, that some people call God. When we do that, then we can start asking the big question, what does God want out of my life? Or better yet, what is Spirit's highest thought about itself as me? Think about that question for a second. Spirit is wandering around wearing a Kathleen suit and an everybody else suit too. What does Spirit want as me? What does Spirit's life as me look like? You know, I just got back from vacation where I was hosted by a wonderful family, and they were very careful to make sure I knew where the coffee was in case I, stumbled out in the morning at dark 30 and couldn't wait. That I knew where the sweetener for the coffee was, that I knew how to get whatever I needed. And they had made the house look. Does anybody not clean up the house before everybody comes over? At least kick the stuff under the bed. Now imagine that rather than you're coming home today, you are walking in there with a spiritual master. Or you're touring Prescott today with God itself with you. Your guest for the week is God. Are you really going to take him to the laundromat to do laundry? Are you going to take her to like the best restaurants you can find? Are you going to take it to, yes, I am changing my pronouns. Are you going to take God on the best date ever? I think you are. That divine being lives as you, right here and right now. And envisioning, we get in touch with what the divine, what the infinite life wants out of life for itself. And the best thing, the divine life doesn't have any worthiness issues. The divine life does not even believe in lack or poverty, and so anything it wants to be simply falls into place. That is how you know that you are living a vision. Everything just kind of comes together. And so I have also noticed sometimes things don't come together. And that is when I have to rewind and say, is this my will or thy will? Now, there's nothing wrong with my will. Nothing wrong with it. But if there is some part of me, a divine part of me, that knows that there is a piece missing, or it's not the right time, or I don't actually want what I say I want, I want to be 110 pounds. No, I do not. No, I do not, because I would be living on ice cubes, thank you. No. If I say I want that, but the truth of me is, no, I don't, I want to live in a healthy body, then there's no way that it's all going to roll out, right? Am I the only one that has tried to manifest something and God's like, oh, honey, are you sure? Because there's a part of me that actually is going, no, don't let it happen. Okay. Wow, I went off on such a tangent that I'm having trouble remembering. Oh, yeah. We have a whole bunch of rocks outside. We used to have a labyrinth, and when we did the land swap, we had to take the labyrinth out, and now we have different land on which we can build anything Spirit's little heart, big old heart desires. Tom Smith, who is in the back of the room, I'm outing him, sorry. He is the only other person on the committee for the labyrinth with me. Poor guy, he has to put up with me all by himself. I believe there's one other person, but she's kind of incognito. So, if we have jumped the gun, and I'm totally willing to have made that mistake, if the question is not how do we build a labyrinth, or where do we build a labyrinth, or what type of labyrinth we want to build, what if the question is, do we want a labyrinth? What if Spirit as us wants something else, and we're doing the labyrinth because we didn't go back and ask the first question first? When we as religious scientists are living our lives, the first question is always, what does Spirit as me see as its highest vision for its life, for this life that I am living? So I am willing to give up the labyrinth entirely. If people want a labyrinth, we'll have a labyrinth. But I'm not going to effort it into being or ask somebody else to do it just because we've had a labyrinth in the past. The same thing with what I call the dirt museum out there. That is the land that is set up and ready to be built on. But we haven't done the visioning yet. We have not asked ourselves what Spirit as us wants and needs out of that land. And what I know is some of our most successful centers do visioning before they do anything else. The last step of visioning is to decide whether your heart has a yes to the vision. So usually we just have 4 questions we ask and we all write them down and we all get interesting answers. True visioning, and you'll learn this more deeply in the class, is getting in touch with the infinite love of the Christ that we all are, then asking some questions, and then saying yes and finding out if there's willingness in our hearts to this vision. Or if maybe we're just willing to be willing and a little freaked out by it, which is also okay. And then finally we go to prayer. Finally we use our 5-step spiritual mind treatment in order to call that vision into form so that we can see it and show it to everybody else. Living at a level at which Spirit itself, infinite love, infinite life, infinite good, is happy and having fun is just something that I think we should all be doing out there in public, because that's what fills these seats. People looking at us and saying, wow, they're glowing. How do I get that? What do I need to be doing? That's being pulled by a vision, rather than us grabbing all of our friends and nagging them into coming here because they're polite and they'll show up once and probably never speak to any of us again, right? Oh God, here she comes. Oh yes, I'm studying very hard right now. Please don't talk to me. So let's go to prayer. And let's use that tool that we have. I am actually being a little pushed by pain today. Usually I pray from down on the floor. But I don't think I can get back up here right now because one of my legs is numb. I'm like, come on, body. So, in this moment, I ask you to go within with me to that place where we are spiritual beings and we know it, where the light of life itself is glowing within each and every body here, where we know that God is, and God is all there is, and it is Spirit itself, or what I sometimes call God, speaking through me right now. As I breathe in, it's the inspiration of God itself coming into my physical form and being expelled as the Word with a capital W. The Word is being spoken because Spirit is all there is, and Spirit is speaking. Spirit speaks each and every one of us and into being in this moment. And Spirit itself is well pleased with its creation. And so I stand in the truth of Spirit. Stand in absolute awe at the majesty of the divine love that is in, through, for, and as all of us. And as I stand in the light of truth itself, what I recognize, what I witness, is a world that works for everyone, is a world in which we are all in touch with the greater vision, is a world in which we have let go of sin, sickness, and death, the fear that we might be able to somehow sin. We stand right now, right here, in the absolute light of truth, and it is so bright that there is no shadow. There is no misunderstanding. There is no bad data at work in our program. There is only God, which means there is only good. And that infinite love fills every single cell of every human body, of of the trees, of the dirt, of the buildings, of everything is made up of the very energy of life itself. And it is in joy, it is in perfect peace that we live in and of this joy-filled perfect world. I bless and celebrate all of this good. I stand in awe of the magnificence of all of these souls, whether they are physically here in this building with me or joined with me on the internet. I stand in awe of the beauty that exists. And resting in that, I simply let go of this word. I allow it to be moved upon by the action of the law of cause and effect. My words are a whole new cause that are going into effect right now. According to natural law, works just like gravity, has to happen. And so I bless and release it and let it all be. And so it is.